You're listening to the Dirt Racing Podcast.
Yes, you are listening to the Dirt Racing Podcast. Hello and welcome to another edition. We'll have Bill Wright in a couple of minutes come on. Talk Sprint Invaders, Knoxville, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. So that's going to be the interview. But first, we'll do the quick preview of the Southern Iowa Speedway, like I mentioned last week, as they have exciting racing action again this year. With the new added class, take the non-wing sprint cars out of the equation and add the Crown Vics will be the new attraction this year on Wednesdays. Their season opener will be the added Monday night is April 29th. 9th, the 13th will be another added Monday night of May. The Hall of Fame induction night for the racetrack is June 17th. Another Monday added night with the SLMR late models in town. Then June 24th, July 16th will be the added the Kayla Hammond Memorial Fair Race. And then the next night, the Sprint Invaders will come to town on the 16th with hobby stocks and stock cars on the card. Season Championship will be July 22nd. Then August 10th will be the annual Front Row Challenge. And August 26th, if you have a Southern Iowa Speedway pass for the 10th of August and the 26th of August, they will not work. If you have the season pass or Southern Iowa Speedway tickets, as those are different, as the World of Outlaws Late Model Series will be in action that night. And then October, not the annual Fall Challenge, October 9th and 10th, the added Monday nights. So that's a quick preview of Southern Iowa Speedway. Weekly classes are Sport Compacts, Stock Cars, Sport Mods, Hobby Stocks, and Crown Vics. As tonight's Marshalltown race, they have to wait another week to be in racing action, as Mother Nature from yesterday has dumped a lot of rain on the racetrack, so they postponed. So their season opener will now be next Friday night. We'll mention it again. 34 Raceway on tomorrow night, and the times have been moved up, and we'll talk about it. Your Sprint Invaders season opener with modifieds, mini haulers, and hobby stocks on the card. We'll come back with Bill Wright's interview and then have a few more minutes of what I think in comments. Joining us now is Bill Wright from the Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum, Knoxville Raceway, and Sprint Invaders. How's it going, Bill?
Good, Marshall. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yesterday we found out the news about new changes at Knoxville.
Yeah, there's some rule changes and there's some format changes too.
No more having to guess how the A-Main works.
Right. Yeah, it'll be a lot easier for the fans to figure out because you take a certain number of cars out of the heat races, and then that's how we'll line up the feature with an invert. So, yeah, it should be easy to understand, and easy to understand who's going to the feature and who's going to the beat.
It was a lot harder. It took some math on my part.
Yeah, if a fan didn't bring a calculator with them and add up all the points, they had no clue really. But I think the old format, it really put a lot of emphasis on the qualifying, and if you qualified well, you were pretty much in the feature no matter what, right? So
Yeah.
Race and heat race. So I think that's going to be better for everybody.
And then the features are longer.
The features are longer, so the people that are worried about big inverts like 12, 10 or 12, and their favorite drivers are back there. They have some extra laps to get up through there. And, Brian Brownkrug last year, he can still come from row 7 or 8 and win. So he can still get it done, and I think that makes it more exciting.
And plus, it's tune-up for nationals. Being 25 every week helps with that.
Yeah. Everything in nationals is 25 laps, and the features drove 25 lap segments. So, our locals should have a little bit of an advantage that way. So, we'll see how it all pans out.
And then the weather's looking better for Sprint Invaders tomorrow night.
It is looking better, and we hope we can get it in. With April, you never know what the weather's going to be like. It might be a little cool in the 50s, but as long as we're dry, we'll be racing, right?
Yeah, and it is on TV in case somebody's complaining it's cold.
Yeah, so I'm done right TV. I think we were at 34 Raceway, so if you're not able to make it down, hopefully you are, but if you're not able to, it'll be on Done Right TV.
And then the next race will be Stewart with co-sanctioned.
Yeah, it's exciting. Sprint Invader's going to co-sanction a couple of races with ASCS Midwest, and that's the old Malvern Bank 360 Series out of Nebraska, and that'll be fun. Sunday, April 19th, will be at Stewart with the Midwest Series, and then later on, I think it's on May 8th, will be at Eldon Raceway in Eldon, Iowa, and that'll also be co-sanctioned. So I'm really looking forward to those co-sanctions and getting a few new cars or different cars in on the Sprint Invaders.
Yeah. And then back to Knoxville. What's the deal with Sawyer Phillips and the Brett Moffitt ride?
I think he's already had that car out in Mississippi. It's car number 7, I believe.
Yeah.
And Brett Moffitt and Destiny Homes are sponsoring him. So I think he'll be the car owner. They'll be the car owners for his car. So in the 360 side, not on the 410.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
And then I know I just read the format. It's basically passing points for Sprint Invaders.
Sprint Invaders run passing points. Yep, it's pretty much the SCS system. And then depending on how many heats there are, if there's 3 or 4 heats, the heat winners they always go to the Agrland FS dash, and then your top 2 or 4 in passing points that did not win the heats will make your 6 or 8 car dash at the end of the night. Then that'll make it your first 4 rows. But everything up the A main and then the B main is all lined up by passing points.
It's nice that they put out the format ahead of time.
For
Sprint Invaders.
For Sprint Invaders?
Yeah, because I read it last night.
Yeah. And, it's always good to be transparent. I think that's good with Knoxville, too. They're getting the format out to the drivers, a couple weeks ahead of time. So they try to be transparent with the drivers and try to let them know what's going on and those types of things. So I can say about Knoxville though, a lot of the drivers they had input in the new format. So we had like a half a dozen drivers. All the drivers were asked to submit a format. About a half a dozen drivers did, and so a lot of the things with the new format have to do with what the drivers suggest.
That's good to know. And if
Yep.
you've lived under a rock and didn't know, next Saturday night at Knoxville is free in the grandstands.
It is free. You do need a ticket. You know, I hope there's long lines for the ticket office on Saturday night, the 18th. But if you get your ticket ahead of time, and you can at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum, you can get your ticket ahead of time, or other places around town, then you don't have to wait in that line. So I think that's that's going to be a good thing. And I hope we get a big crowd. It's all going to depend on the weather. I think the extended forecast mostly looks good so far, but you know how we changed Iowa a lot.
Yeah, and I did see on the ticket, it said make up May 2nd just in case.
Okay, well that's good. That's good, yeah. And that's Craig Ford, of course, from Pella Motors. And Craig Ford, what he did was he gave the racetrack a certain amount to allow everybody in free. So he's the one to thank for the free admission. So, Marshall, if you have a car to buy, you need to go to Craig Ford.
I don't have one right now to buy.
Okay, well, next time.
Yeah. And then, what's going on at the Hall of Fame?
Well, we're doing a track tribute to Knoxville Raceway this year, and we're going to have cars from most of the top drivers in the history of Knoxville, at least feature wins-wise. And, the cars we can get a hold of. There were some drivers, like I think of Randy Smith, who won 6 track titles. We don't really have a Randy Smith car around us to put in the Hall of Fame right now. But we have cars from Danny Lasowski and Terry McCarl and Doug Wolfgang, Brian Brown, and Steve Kinzer, and Eddie Levitt, and on down the line, David Hesmer, the all-time leading with the 360s, is going to have his first 360 Nationals winner there. So it's going to bring back a lot of memories, I think. It seems kind of weird that we've never done a tribute to Knoxville Raceway, but we really have. So, of course, a lot of the cars in there will be Knoxville cars, but we've got other cars as well. Jeff Gordon's car from 1988-89 when he was 17, 18 years old. We have that wing spread car in there. We have a Dave Garland car that I think is really cool. That's painted like a corn cob and paint is not vinyl. So I think there's a lot of different cars in there that will have a lot of new cars. And I think there's always something new at the Hall of Fame, so you need to come and visit.
And of course, all the movies from Chris.
Yep. And we'll have some videos running from Knoxville, both races and also just humorous videos and different things over the years that have been videoed in Knoxville. So, as well as documentaries on Knoxville and about the track, about the Nationals, and so I think people will enjoy that not only in the display itself, but also up in the theater on the second floor.
And then there's a new diecast coming out for the Nationals.
Are you talking about
the Knoxville Nationals one?
Okay, yeah. Knoxville Racing is putting out the 65 car, the Knoxville Nationals. I think 300 that they ordered. And something you probably don't know, but our National Sprint Car Hall of Fame members only car this year is going to be the 1987 Steve Kinzer Coors Light car. So that's going to both be at the museum, and it's also going to be our members only diecast. So there's only 400 of those made. So if you're a member of the Hall of Fame, you're able to buy them.
So that means I have to buy both.
That's up to you. So they're going to go fast, though. I think they're going to sell out pretty quick.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think both of them will. I think the Knoxville Raceway car and then the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame car. I think they both will.
And then, of course, you have the Salute merchandise coming out soon.
Always with our salute to the track. We have T-shirts, we have posters. Those types of things with the logo on them, and it's got the cars that we hope to have on display this summer. That includes Ryan Tim's car from the Nationals last year, and the team tells me that it still has the confetti on it from Victory Lane, so we'll try to keep it out of the wind.
And then, I'm trying to think real quick. Is there by chance there going to be any other cars that you know of that's like in staging, the 3Y car?
Well, the two I mentioned, the Jeff Gordon car, the Dave Darland car, and then there's some other possibilities. Crossing Rod will have one of the only super modified, southern style super modifieds, actually from Texas, that Bob Trosson owns down in the Trosson Garage. We'll have some other cars too. Some of them that the owners haven't quite gotten to us yet, so I don't want to say it and not have it here. So, but we have some cool things coming up. It's a good surprise.
I don't know much else.
Well, you know a whole lot.
Yeah, I appreciate the time.
Yep. You're welcome, Marshall. It's always good to
Yeah.
talk with you and talk with you.
That was Bill Wright on the show. We appreciate him every time he comes on. As far as a complaint I could see from the drivers, the wheel cover rule at Knoxville could be a little bit of a debate on that. It's been interesting on Twitter. This has been another edition of the Dirt Racing Podcast. Hopefully results from Burlington and gets you set for the full weeks at tracks. Until then, this has been another edition of the Dirt Racing Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, which is X, Facebook. The YouTube page is different. It's if you want to listen to classic shows or watch classic races from the Knoxville Raceway. It is YouTube/Marshall Haynes. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Dirt Racing Podcast with Marshall Haynes. Follow us on Twitter at Dirt_Podcast or on Facebook at the Dirt Racing Podcast.